Good morning, everybody. We have the slides are a little weird today. So, welcome and thank you for joining our Sanctuary community in celebration. Sanctuary Church is a 508c1a faith-based organization. Our faith in sacred mushrooms stems from prehistoric use by our ancestors and personal experiences of our modern members. Psilocybin mushrooms are one of the greatest sacraments that nature offers, raising our awareness so that we can access a direct connection to the source of life. It is our sincere belief that the consumption of psilocybin-containing mushrooms is a communion which brings us closer to what is commonly called God. We understand this concept as pure consciousness, which permeates all being. This pure consciousness is, we believe, the ineffable source of creation and the origin of health and well-being. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get the slide on the right place. Our vision and mission at Sanctuary is to live in a world with supportive and joyful communities, empowered to discover our own divinity with sacred mushrooms and each other. We are bringing people together for healing and connection to divine revelation through communion with sacred mushrooms. Our journey today, we ask that you mute our mics if you're not muted already. Mute your mics if you're not muted already. The 30-minute service portion of our gathering is being recorded and will be posted on YouTube for community viewing. We'll begin with a short guided meditation, followed by 2 readings to facilitate our journal prompt, and the discussion following service. Prior to the 90-minute discussion, we'll invite one of our community leaders to share some sanctuary announcements, updates, and FAQs. We invite you now to find a comfortable space where you can settle in and be present for the beginning as we begin our service. And I now invite Julie to lead us in a short meditation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I invite you all to allow yourself to settle into a comfortable position with a straight back. And take a few deep cleansing breaths and relax as gravity pulls you to the earth. Let's do that now. And as we gather here today with our community, let us become aware of our awareness, the inner light of consciousness that shines within our very own minds. Your awareness is not your thoughts. Your awareness is that which is aware of your thoughts. Your awareness is not your feelings. Your awareness is that which is aware of your feelings. Your awareness is not your body. Your awareness is that which is aware of your body. Your awareness is that which wakes up in the morning and is your awake mind all day long. Take a few moments to be aware of that which is the light of awareness in you. Other words for awareness include consciousness, attention, being awake, This very awareness is that of the one mind, the one consciousness that flows through all of us, the spirit that moves through all things, the Tao. There's nothing in creation that does not come from it. All of creation is made of it. It is chock full of infinite potential and actualization. Behold this awake and aware mind within you, made of pure light, full of infinite potential, the wish-fulfilling jewel, shining within all things and yet limited by none. It is the basis of our creativity, joy, and unity as one humanity and one earth. One consciousness moving through us all, and is our eternal home. As we rest in this relaxed state of pure awake mind, we bow to the vast and sacred source within us. Take a few more deep and centering breaths, and then open your eyes when you're ready.
Thank you, Julie. All right. Before we move into our readings and while we're in this mindful centered space, I invite us all to place our hands on our heart as we take a few moments to send loving intention to our sacrament and to all that cultivate or consume these sacred mushrooms. Without these gifts of our Creator and the communion of our members, this community would not exist. The healing brought on by our sacrament is not limited to the times when we consume the mushroom, but extends into all aspects of our lives and spreads like the mycelium around our world. It is through intention and attention that we call forth the healing power of the mushroom and the community that we have formed around it. Let us use our ever-expanding awareness to bring greater peace and healing to our world. Let us radiate gratitude from our hearts to our Creator, to our community, and to those who cultivate our sacrament, for these gifts impart healing to those who commune with love and sincerity. In cultivating and consuming this sacrament, we become aware of the oneness of life, the knowing that we live in all things and that all things live in us. Let us apply this understanding to all of our relationships and aid us in our journey as members of the human family. Thank you, everyone. All right, our rotating text today was selected by our founding community minister, Eric. And it comes from the book Psycho-Cybernetics. I invite Carla to read for us today.
Good morning, everyone. This is by Maxwell Maltz, Your Built-in Guidance System. Every living thing has a built-in guidance system put there by its creator to help it achieve its goal, which is in broad terms, to live. The mechanism in animals is limited to finding food and shelter, avoiding or overcoming enemies and hazards, and procreation to ensure the survival of the species. In man, the goal to live means more than mere survival. Humans have certain emotional and spiritual needs that animals do not have. For humans to live encompasses more than physical survival and procreation of the species. It requires certain emotional and spiritual satisfactions as well. The success mechanism in humans can also help us to get answers to problems, invent, write poetry, run businesses, explore new horizons in science, attain more peace of mind, develop a better personality, or achieve success in any other activity leading to a fuller life. Animals cannot select their goals. They are preset, so to speak, or what we call instinct. Humans, on the other hand, have something animals don't: creative imagination. We are more than creatures, we are creators. With imagination, we can formulate a variety of goals. We can direct our success mechanism by the use of our imagination. Your brain and nervous system constitute a goal-striving mechanism that operates automatically to achieve a certain goal, much like a missile seeks out its target. The built-in mechanism automatically steers you in the direction to achieve certain goals or make correct responses in your environment. This mechanism is divided into two types: finding a target where the goal or objective is known and must be simply found, or finding a target or an answer that is unknown and must be discovered.
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you.
All right, so please take out your journals and pens for 5 minutes of reflection using the following prompts. How might this insight into your self-guidance system be put into use for our spiritual or personal development? Consider circumstances where the desired goal is both known and unknown. I'll go ahead and set my timer for 5 minutes. And I'll give you a 1 minute heads up when we're close. We have 1 minute remaining. All right, let's wrap up of our thoughts as we move into the next portion of this service together. The paradoxical nature of life and its mysteries are best experienced through the ineffable space we find in our communion with the mushroom. For more than 2,000 years, the Tao Te Ching has provided guidance and instruction for exploring the paradox of existence. It is for this reason that we employ the Tao Te Ching as our primary sacred text and invite all to study it further as you delve deeper into the mystery of life. I invite our volunteer, Chris, to read today's Tao chapter 11.
Good morning, everyone. This is Tao Te Ching, chapter 68. A good soldier is never aggressive. A good fighter is never angry. The best way of conquering an enemy is to win him over by not antagonizing him. The best way of employing a man is to serve under him. This is called the virtue of non-striving. This is called using the abilities of men. This is called being wedded to heaven as of old.
Thank you. All right, and I invite Eric to share our newly ordained ministers.
It's mute. Hey, thank you. All right, Courtney, did you send me that? Where did that go? I'm so sorry, y'all. There's a list that.
Yep, I sent it to your email.
Okay, sorry. I was in a bit of a rush getting together here this morning. The time change threw me off. Amazed to see so many people here with this time change. All right, here we go. Yes. All right. So before I do acknowledge these wonderful names, just want to acknowledge what this really is. I continue to sit with this whole thing, this whole idea of creating the seminary, this what was, basically instructed to me to do through a ceremony of my own. And as James and Connor and I have been working over the last few weeks, going through a pretty significant revamp with the podcast and some of the work we're doing on that end, and we've been really kind of drill down into what is the real message that me, Eric, personally wants to convey out to practitioners. And it's really embodied particularly in these two ministries, the myself and the Friends and Family Ministries. And that is our absolute sovereign right to work with these sacred plants without any required oversight. Now, as we talk about in these courses, there is very good reason to have oversight, both communally for best practices and ensuring that ethical standards are met and people are safe and really cared for, and even within one's individual practice, particularly as you deepen your work with this sacrament, because as you deepen your experiences, then they become more unpredictable and can benefit more from in time support. But that being said, many of you know, and many of your practices have evolved into one where this is very personal for you. And while there's always an enormous amount of value in consuming the sacrament in a communal setting, to have that personal relationship and to be able to sit in the privacy of your own home and have a communion that is intrinsically such a personal, private experience, there's enormous value there. And that's not something that is being talked about in the broader psychedelic work. It's, psychedelic therapy is being spoken of as you go to a professional that administers a psychedelic to you, and they tell you how it works. They guide you through the experience and they assist you with processing. And again, there's value there, and there will always be value there. But there's also value in remembering that the wisdom of our ancestors knew that this was a private experience, and that no one can really truly interpret your psychedelic experience for you. No one can really guide your experience for you. The best that we can do is encourage each other through that journey. And that's a lot of what we talk about in these minister trainings. And so it's really like, this is really, really powerful, you all. I keep trying to remind myself of that, because this is something that for me, this has been my personal practice for 25 years. I've never accepted that any plant should be illegal. I just can't accept that. And so it can become just second nature. But inside of the larger container of the culture in which we sit in, and even more specifically into psychedelic culture, what you're doing here as ministers to yourself first and foremost, and then to your friends and family as that extends out, and then possibly into a larger community as that extends out, that is the most grassroots movement that we can have in this work. And that's where the real change happens. So, saying your names is just a small way to acknowledge what you're doing first for yourself and your own spiritual and personal development. But with every person that goes through this and really takes up that mantle of personal empowerment and that ownership of their relationship with this sacrament, is creating a seed change culturally that will, I'm confident, that will eventually, this will be seen as the preferred model. It's going to take some time. And you all are absolutely pioneers in this regard. So I just want to make that really, really clear. Again, first for myself to be reminded of the importance of what we're doing. And then for you all, as you hopefully carry on in this work to different degree, just understanding the pivotal role that you're helping to play in re-empowering our culture and society to have a real relationship with these sacraments, this sacrament. So thank you. So with that, I'll just say the names of the wonderful folks. We've had some awesome conversations. I know that some of you will stick around for some of the subscription stuff and look forward to more commentary. And in that case, what's really exciting about that is that the students get to become the teachers. And that's really everything that I want to just try to work towards is learning from you and your experiences as we collect data of this landscape that I do believe that we can map, and we are mapping to an extent. So anyway, thank you all so much. Much love and respect. Diana Cristiano, Andre Delgado, Alan Pennington, Diana Kinsey, Guy Borgford, Rebecca Slater, Laura Gaddy, Christopher Wilson, Marvin Diem, Tony Padalino, Scott Tyler, Jeremy Manis, Laura Boos, Mike Boos. I think I said Rebecca's name already, didn't I? No, Rebecca Stansberry, sorry. Kevin Keller, Anwar L, Matthew Dyer, Kristen Valasillo, Craig Brown, Autumn Bird, and Angela Anderson. That's the biggest group of myself ministers that we've had so far. And that's really awesome. In my ceremony where I was told to do this, it said you will ordain 1,000 ministers in the next 5 years. So we're on the way. We're over 100, maybe up to 200 at this point. So it might come quicker than 5 years, who knows? And then for the friends and family, this is kind of that next stage as people are very often inspired to administer to those that they love. And this is where you really start to cut your teeth, so to speak, and becoming a minister to the sacrament, to the community at large. And that is Brian Buford. Happy birthday again to you, Brian. Elena Thornton, Emily Patterson, David Jufs, Angela Allred, and Crystal Fields. And I really just want to thank you all so much. It's going to be so valuable what you're doing for your friends and your family. And the interesting kind of piece to that I've learned very deeply over the years is that in doing this work and performing this service for others, that we are not only help to bring healing into their lives, but into ours as well. This is truly one of those places where you see that giving is receiving. So thank you all so much for giving your time and energy to this work and this community. And I look forward to the ongoing relationship that we develop with each other. Much love.
Much love. Thank you, Eric. Wow. Let's sit with that for a minute. All right. I would like to ask, who is doing announcements today? James, can you share announcements?
Yes, and I have them pulled up, but then I clicked on the Zoom window and they disappeared. One moment. Okay, there we go. Our virtual circles and workshops are open to non-members for a suggested $5 donation and remain open at no cost for official members. Virtual offerings this week include this evening at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 3:30 Pacific, Veterans Healing with Psilocybin with Jeff. Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific, Directors Open Office Hours. Tuesday at 6:30 p.m., 3:30 Pacific, Internal Family Systems. Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. Pacific, Administrative Office Hours with Athena. Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 a.m. Pacific, Sanctuary Book Club. Please register and find Zoom links on our events calendar on sanctuary.org. Thank you to all of the members who have reserved an interview time slot during our Sanctuary Testimonial Picnic at a local park in Louisville, Kentucky, this coming Saturday, March 16th. It's a priority for us to normalize the conversation about our sincere experiences with the mushroom and community, and the voices of our members speaks volumes. For members that didn't sign up for an interview, please come hang out and picnic with fellow members. See the Kentuckiana channel on our private Discord server for more details. Sean will be leading our monthly Men's Sacred Circle this Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. at Clifton Universalist Unitarian Church on Payne Street off Frankfurt Avenue. Men have been sitting in circles for millennia to challenge themselves to be better versions of themselves in their own unique way. This event is offered at no suggested cost for official Sanctuary members and is a suggested $10 for non-members. Please visit our events calendar on our website to register.
Thank you very much, James. Okay, I invite Stephen to share our new members this week.
Good morning, everyone. We have 4 members to announce this week. Lori from Illinois, Karen from Ohio, Yoan from Maine, and Elizabeth from Maine. So welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Stephen. And if you're not yet a member and are interested in joining our community of over 400 official members, you may begin the onboarding process by visiting sanctuary.org. Like the mycelial network we seek to emulate, Sanctuary relies on the support and resources of our community while giving back health and wholeness to the same. We seek to create a nationwide and eventually global community that contributes to the healing of humanity. Your support is incredibly valuable as we grow and even after we're established. Becoming a member gives you access to our official private member chat server, our minister ordination programs, our network of sacrament cultivators, and sacrament services facilitated by our friends and family and community ministers, and discounted community offerings. I now invite, I already said that. I was going to say, I invite you to say the new members. Sorry about that, Stephen. All right. And this week, Eric is on point to share our frequently asked questions and updates.
Sorry, y'all, you're getting a lot of me this week. I know, just needed some space filled, so here I am. But this is actually a topic that I suggested to Courtney. It was pretty important for us to cover. You know, there's always room for improvement, and communicating some of these nuanced practices and kind of, I hesitate to say permissions because that's not really, but it kind of is. So what I'd like to talk about is the gifting of a sacrament and how we have developed best practice for that within Sanctuary. So understand, please, that this is brand new territory, not just for Sanctuary, but it's new territory. And we are working to develop something that really adheres to the guidelines of the DEA, to the fullest extent possible. Excuse me, and also protects our basic freedoms to work with this sacrament and treat it in a sacred, communal way. It's always been really, really challenging for me to attach any money to the mushroom. You know, historically in the Maria Sabina's culture, anyway, the Oaxaca shamans in Mesoamerica, what I have read and understood is that the work that was performed by the shaman generally was traded for some kind of gift or token. There wasn't a specific dollar amount ever attached to any of this, right? And I know with Maria Sabina anyway, who so much of my work has been inspired by, that she almost never turned anyone away. It didn't matter if they had money. And so, you know, it's been a real challenge for me over the years, from the the black market days all the way through where we are right here, right now, and all the retreats and everything in between. And so, we've really tried to develop a protected process that will allow these gifts of nature to be treated like gifts themselves and not be tied to specific monetary requirements. And that's one reason that we gift the cultivation classes, workshops, brainstorming sessions, that whole thing as that's evolved. We just include that as part of the minister trainings because first we want you to always have access to the sacrament, and growing it your own is the best way to ensure that. And then also it's really valuable to have a relationship with this sacrament. So that being said, we also understand that it's not always within everybody's means to grow their own mushrooms. I'm right here. I do not have the capacity in my life to be growing my own mushrooms. Thankfully, there are amazing ministers out there who gift mushrooms to me. And that, knowing that is just kind of part of how this thing has to be, if it's going to develop in an egalitarian, decentralized way, we've tried to put together like I said, a process that is in as best alignment with what the DEA is currently recommending for quote unquote scheduled substances. Okay, so after a lot of consultation with attorneys and a lot of internal deliberation, where we have landed for the last few months, and that we're slowly communicating this out better and better, and I'm hopefully by the next minister course I will have some verbiage that goes out to everybody that really is as clear as possible. But basically, it should absolutely be within your right, protection, and privilege as a member and a sincere practitioner of an organization like this that follows the 12-point guidance or the 15-point guidance of the IRS and all the stuff, the DEA, that you should be able to just gift mushrooms to each other, have mushrooms yourself. There is some precedent and again, this is all very gray territory, and a lot of what we are advised on and we understand is through precedent that's been established in pre-existing cases. There is precedent, though, that when someone is a trained and ordained minister, that they are significantly more protected in a court of law for not only the possession of said sacrament, but for the transportation, the gifting, and exchange. Okay, so that's legally, that is where things get even more murky, is when we start exchanging these mushrooms. And so through our interpretations and our advisement, we have landed on a place where Psanctuary puts our blessing, or its blessing. This is, I say our, but this isn't Eric. Oh, it's so hard for me to attach. Like, this is not me, right? I'm not making these rules up. We as a board are trying to develop something that is an evolving practice. So ministers are sanctioned under Psanctuary to gift sacrament to other ministers. What we haven't codified, but is kind of it's organically developing, is kind of quantity parameters around that, right? Because as you can just imagine, me gifting Amy or whoever, just any person I see, a pound of mushrooms is pretty different than me gifting her an ounce of mushrooms, right? Especially when you consider the fact that an individual's personal practice, even a pretty regular deep diver of sacred mushrooms, would be very hard pressed to consume 28 grams, 1 ounce in a month, right? So there is kind of an unspoken threshold of what is reasonable here. And in our sacrament request form, where ministers can request sacrament directly from the church itself through the Google sheet that's in all of your minister portal, you can request up to 1 ounce of sacrament. So that's kind of the standard that we have tried to set as an organization for the upper limit on a reasonable request. And with that, we do have suggested donations associated with that, because there is obviously cost. And I would also encourage you, if you're gifting from minister to minister, I would not encourage you to exchange money, because that could become problematic were it ever to need defense. But to acknowledge that there are resources that are put into creation of these mushrooms. And so I think it can be easy to lose sight of that. And while, again, I would not ask or recommend that you make a monetary donation to an individual that you maybe, gifts you sacrament once or twice, understanding that this is a privilege, and how do I want to say this? That we really honor the effort, the time, the sincerity that any minister puts into cultivating their sacrament, and that this doesn't become an expectation. That's really what I want to try to communicate, is that we don't ever, as ministers, we don't expect someone else to be growing our sacrament for us, right? In best scenario, we should all be growing our own ultimately, because that is personal responsibility and that is a relationship. So anyway, I've rambled on a really long time trying to, contextualize something that is a little bit of a moving target, but where it sits right now, and this is still in conversation with our attorney, because there are certain aspects of this, as we talk in the minister trainings around the 3-stage locking, and what is required by the DEA to maintain that kind of level of security around a Schedule 1 substance, that is completely unreasonable. Can you name any other instance where, you have to keep this something, especially something that you grow, you've got to keep under a 3-stage locking system? So there's more on that we could talk about in minister classes. I will not go off on a big tangent right there, right now. But I just wanted to be clear that Psanctuary will stand up for your right to gift moderate amounts of sacrament from minister to minister. And at the same time, we all have a personal responsibility for the work that we're doing, and that, this is not in any way, this is not a get out of jail free card. It may take, the hope and the trust is that we have established something very solid in Sanctuary, that were any of you, particularly our ministers, to need defense of the organization, that you're going to have that defense, and it's going to be solid. So I'll stop rambling. If anybody has any questions real quick, we can maybe hit on them real fast, and then we'll move on to the discussion portion, and I'll let you wonderful people have the microphone. Go ahead, Guy.
Morning.
Morning,
What's
sir.
the process of gifting the sacrament to the church?
That's awesome. Thanks for asking. That happens not infrequently. And individuals have just let me know that there's a package coming to us, and it's sent to us in as a secure manner as possible. Some folks have used locking bags, and some have not. It is within our bylaws, and our attorney from Go has stood very solidly with this. It is plainly stated, even in our legal notice that's on the website, that as practitioners of this spiritual growth process, we have the right to procure our sacrament in any ethical way, right? So we have, once that sacrament is in the hands of a minister, right, or of the church, and it how it got there is not anybody's business, right? So if you wanted to send surplus to us that we then dole out, we do that. That's how our gifting program is currently happening, because we are not centralized growers right now, which is a beautiful thing. Again, the decentralization. So, and just as a point worth noting is that the USPS has to have a warrant to open your mail. They have to have a warrant on USPS. UPS, FedEx, private carriers do not have to have warrants to open your mail. The USPS has to have a warrant to open any mail.
And the mailing address.
Let's send me an email or a Discord.
Okay.
I'd rather not just shoot that out over the.
Roger. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm also really excited, since we're on sacrament, I'm also really excited. We're in the process of developing Sanctuary specific strains. So that's just a little bug in your ear. Go ahead, guys. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, I got some beautiful Enigma. I don't know if you've ever sat with Enigma before.
Oh,
but
I have not personally. No, I've been quite curious though.
yeah, there's something else. They look like little brains.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All right.
Any other quick? Okay, awesome. Good. There.
Hey, Eric,
Yes, sir.
Terry had asked in the chat, donating to the Church for Ministers Growing. As
Can
a
you
question.
clarify, Terry? What do you mean? Can you clarify, Terry, or something?
Can I make donations to the church with a stipulation for to support growing ministers, or
Well, the church itself, like if I mail out sacrament, that's only requestable by a minister. So the church only gifts sacrament to ordained ministers, and that again is what we would recommend from minister to minister. So I'm not sure, is that the same thing you're talking about, or what do you?
There is a
No,
place on, yeah, you
Hold on.
can, Terry. Yeah, there's a
okay?
place. on-
What I was trying to say is we don't exchange money or give money to ministers for sacrament.
Uh-huh.
However, making a donation to the church with like, I want to donate this for the new roof at the church, or I want to donate this for the new windows in the church. Well, I would like to donate this for the ministers growing sacrament for church and community. is what I meant.
Oh,
Like-
yeah.
Like
Well,
a cultivation fund.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. So
That's good,
the-
like a roof. Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks for that. The money that is donated through the sacrament request form goes specifically to cultivation.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So that now you raise an interesting, because like if we have ministers who continue to gift to the church more so, then we're going to need to kind of think about how that disperses back out, because right now we've been having, we're moving towards a centralized grower. But anyway, God, we opened up a can of worms with this one, did we?
I'm sorry.
No. I mean, like with this topic, not just that question.
I'm notorious for the can of worm opening.
I do
I'm
want to
glad.
say though that when you go to make a one-time donation or a recurring donation to Sanctuary through PayPal, you can select where that donation goes. So whether that's to operations and overhead, or you're donating towards a scholarship fund, or you're donating towards our sacrament gifting program and cultivation program, you can select that. So even if you're not a minister and you just want to donate towards that cause, then you can, just to make that clear.
Thank you, Courtney. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, we'll save more of that conversation. I see yours, Dan. We'll talk about that in the minister trainings here coming up. We'll get continually more clear on this. So thank you all for your patience with that.
Thank you for the information, Eric. I know a lot of people wonder. So, all right, thank you. We've come together with intentions of service to the land and all its inhabitants. It is in our hearts to go forth into the world with the collective consciousness. We encourage you to stay for continued fellowship and conversation around our readings today. For those unable to stay, we thank you for being with us and wish you a great week ahead. And as we further our conversation, please remember that all perspectives are welcome as we search for the spiritual truth that unites us all. Please remember that we're not a medical or therapeutic organizations. Statements made by the moderator or members of Sanctuary are their own. We are here discovering and exploring with you. And I invite Eric once again to lead us in our discussion.